Okay, this is going to be a day about parabolas. So this is our second conic section. Circles was our first one, and parabolas is going to be our second one. So now you already know a lot about parabolas, right? You know that, sorry, trying to move this. You know that we have this general form, y equals a times x minus h all squared plus k. Well, there's a few extra things about parabolas that we didn't talk about. So with the vertex, right, so here is your vertex, our HK. Our HK is our vertex. Hold on. Okay, our HK is our vertex, right? So now there's something else called our focus and our directrix, which is a line. So the focus and directrix are equidistant, same distance away from the vertice or the vertex. So I keep on doing that. So the distance between the focus and vertex and the distance between the vertex and the directrix is c units away. So the way that you can figure it out is that the focus is going to involve this equation. The a value in your equation is going to equal to 1 over 4c, where that c is that distance from the focus and vertex and the distance from the vertex and the directrix. So our equation this time would be y equals 0 if our x-axis was the directrix itself. Okay, so we're also going to introduce you to a second formula. And this one is a sideways parabola. So our normal parabola has a y and an x squared in it. And a sideways parabola is going to have an x and a y squared in it. So on both of these, we are going to have a vertex of h comma k. Same thing here. Our vertex is h comma k. So this parabola can either open up when it's a positive a or down when it's a negative a. Abigail, could you please turn that off? So then on this one, when the a is positive, it's going to open to the right. When a is negative, it's going to open to the left. Our HK is our vertex, so it's the opposite of what you see, HK is our vertex, so again, opposite of what you see, what you see. And in both of these cases, the C distance is going to be the distance from the focus and vertex, directrix and vertex. And then our formula to find that C is A is going to equal 1 over 4C. So in these two equations, on the equations on the left, the focus is inside the parabola, and then the directrix is always going to be y equals a number. In this one, our focus is still inside the parabola, and our directrix is a vertical line, so that's going to be x equals something. So this lesson is just going to be talking about graphing these functions and getting you used to saying the vertex, focus, directrix, and of course domain and range. Okay, so this first one, this is an upwards facing parabola because A is positive. So our vertex is going to be -2, -3. So you go plot -2, -3. I like to put a little v next to it to indicate that it's the vertex. So now I have that formula, A equals 1 over 4C. So A equals 1/8, which is going to equal 1 over 4C. So that means the two ones are the same, so 8 has to equal 4C. So C is 2. So what that means for the focus and the directrix is that it's going to be 2 units away from the vertex. And we know that it opens up and down. So the focus is going to be right here, and I'll label that with an F. So the focus is -2, -1, 2 units away. And the directrix is going to be y equals -5, again, 2 units away. The domain is going to be everything, and the range is going to start at -3 and go to infinity. So you could find some other points too to determine the width of the parabola. Right, but kind of a little cheat is if you go over one left and right and you go up or down that A value. So if I go up an eighth, that's going to be the width of the parabola. Maybe a little better, I could have drawn that. Okay, so why don't you guys take this next one, give it a try, write the vertex, focus, directrix, domain, and range. Hopefully you're going to think the domain is going to be -infinity to infinity. So put it on pause and try to give the answer and then check it. Okay, so the vertex is going to be 1, -4. So I'm going to plot that and I'll put my V for my vertex. I could do the domain, I could do the range, right? I know it's an upside down parabola. So I know it's going to be -infinity up to that -4. Again, I know it's upside down because of that -3. So A equals 1 over 4C, which is going to equal -3. So if you can't solve for C easily, all you have to do is cross multiply and solve. So 1 equals -12C, -1/12 equals C. So sometimes it's a fraction, sometimes it's going to be a pain, okay? And all the C being negative means is that it opens down. So the vertex is, the focus is still going to stay at that -1, and it's going to be 1/12 of a unit down, right? So that's just going to be -4 and 1/12. So that's really, really close, kind of can't even draw it, focus. Directrix is going to be 1/12 that way. Sorry about that. So my directrix is going to be y equals, because it's a horizontal line, 1/12 away is going to be -3 and 11/12. So it's going to be really, really close to that vertex. So now my little cheat, I can go over 1 to the left and right, and this time I can go down 3 to find the width. And it makes sense because it's a thin parabola. Great. Okay, so now we're going to look at the left and right ones. Okay, so this is an x equals, and we have a y squared. So that means they're going to open to the left when A is negative. They're going to open to the right when A is positive. Your H is 4. Your K is 2. So that's your vertex. We're going to do the same thing with the focus and the directrix. Okay, so let's take this first one. Our vertex is 2, 3. So I'm going to plot 2, 3. Our A equals 1 over 4C, so that equals 1 over 4. So that one's easy. C is going to be 1. It's a positive A, so it's going to open to the right. So our focus is going to be 1 unit away to the right inside the parabola, and our directrix is 1 unit away on the other side. So our directrix is x equals 1, and our focus is 3, 3. This time when I graph it, I can go up and down 1 from the vertex, and then I'm going to go up 1/4. So again, that's a little cheat of graphing it, and there's your parabola. So our domain is closed at 2 to infinity when our range is everything. Okay, so you guys try this one. So again, you try to answer it, put it on pause, and then give a check. So our vertex is -1, 2. So I'm going to plot that, -1, 2. That's my vertex. It's opening to the left since it's negative. So A equals 1 over 4C. So that equals -4. I'll cross multiply and solve. C is -1/16. So that negative again, it's just telling you that it opens to the left. Maybe you've already filled in the range because that's going to be a left and right. That's going to be infinity, infinity. Directrix is going to be x equals something. Focus is going to have the same y coordinate. So I'm 1/16 away to the right and to the left. So the focus is going to be right about there, 1/16 away. So that means the focus is going to be -1 and 1/16. If I go with a directrix, it's going to be 1/16 to the right. So -1 plus 1/16 is going to be -15/16. So my directrix, again, it's hard to draw it when it's in there, right? But x equals that. So if I go up 1 and over 1 and then 4 units, again, it shows me that it's a thinner parabola opening to the left. So domain is -infinity up to -1 closed. Okay, that's a good place to stop with graphing of the parabolas. The next lesson will be given info, get some equations, and get that info as well.